Hi guys, here's video number 2. Be warned, this video is kind of hot trash. It is grainy, and I tried to do a whiteboard and give you guys some notes, but there was too big of a glare, so I did them on paper, but I'm having a hard time with paper. So anyway, I did the best that I could. I hope it helps a little bit. I've answered all the questions that you guys posted on the form today, so we'll go over all of that stuff, and hopefully you'll feel better about your quiz tomorrow. All right, so here is my Venn diagram for governor, lieutenant governor. So they have things the same. So in the center, you can see that they have to be a citizen of the United States for 15 years. They have to be a Georgia resident for 6. They have to be 30 years old, and they also are elected every 4 years. They stagger the gubernatorial elections opposing the presidential elections so that you are not electing a president and a governor at the same time. So the next governor election is 2020. Okay? How is the governor different? So he can only serve 2 consecutive terms. But once he's served those 2 terms, he has to take a 4-year term off, and then he can run for re-election again. He can serve 2 more terms. After that, he has to take a 4-year term off, and then he can run again. So he can run more than 1 time. He can just never serve more than 2 terms at a time. So that's a total of 8 years. He proposes the budget, and that's probably his biggest responsibility. He proposes the budget, but then he has to send it through both the House and the Senate of the Georgia General Assembly, and they have to approve it or make amendments to it before it becomes our official state budget. He vetoes bills, which is huge. He can call special sessions of the Georgia General Assembly. He commands the state military. He appoints vacancies in the Georgia General Assembly, so he can appoint our congressmen. I'm sorry, not our congressmen, but our legislators of the state. And he is an unofficial spokesperson for the state of Georgia. So he's always trying to bring in business. He's trying to bring in trade. He's the delegator of meetings. And he also, another major task of his is appointing heads of departments. So in your book and in your notes, we talked about these guys over here are elected. All of the other department heads are appointed by the governor. So he appoints people that he wants to. And we'll go back to these guys in a second. Your lieutenant governor, he can serve unlimited consecutive terms. It doesn't matter how many he served before, he can keep serving. His biggest responsibility and his most power comes from being the president of the Senate. He is in charge of the Senate. He can control what bills are going to be coming up. He can assign people to committees. He can assign bills to committees. So that's a huge power for him. He also is assigned duties by the governor, so he has to do whatever the governor is assigning to him as well. They also has, when the governor is out of town, he is the acting head of state. And upon death, illness, or resignation of a governor, he would take over the governor's position until a special election can be held. So that's basically your main 2 positions in the executive branch. Then you have the rest of the constitutional party, which are these guys. And their titles are exactly what they do. Okay, so the state secretary of state is an elected official. So is the attorney general, the school superintendent, the commissioner of insurance, the commissioner of agriculture, and the commissioner of labor. Those 8 positions together make up the constitutional officers. So the secretary of state, he deals with the elections. He is the keeper of the seal and the flag. The attorney general is exactly what it sounds like. He is the attorney for the state. He represents capital felony cases. Charlie, I think you asked, do we have the death penalty in Georgia? We still do have the death penalty in the state of Georgia. I think there was 76 since we reenacted it in 1983. And I believe it said there's 20 people currently on death row. So we do still have the death penalty in Georgia. The state school superintendent takes care of the schools. The commissioner of insurance deals with all the insurance prices and rates. Your commissioner of agriculture takes care of all the agriculture. Remember, we are an agricultural state, so that's a big position for him. How they're packaged, how the food is processed, all of those things are part of his role. And the commissioner of labor does exactly what it sounds like. He is in charge of labor, child labor laws, etc. The other departments and taxes are very similar. So the Department of Transportation deals with transportation. The Department of Economic Development tries to bring businesses and develop our economy in the state. The Department of Family and Children Services helps take care of families and children. So all of these, I don't want you to stress out too much. You can really use a little common sense, and the title kind of tells you what they do. And the same things with taxes. You're not going to have to know every one of the taxes. I did want you to be familiar with them, but you're not going to, don't stay up tonight studying taxes. So just like with the departments, your income tax is a tax on per people's income. So we talked about that when we did Reality U. Sales tax, every time something is sold in the state of Georgia, you get to pay a sales tax. Estate tax is on when we talked about if you had an estate, you would have to pay a tax on that if someone died and left you money in their will. That's their estate. Property taxes, tax on your property, your homes, etc. So all of those are self-explanatory, so do not overthink them. I'm looking over your questions from today, and I was going to answer the rest. Relationship between executive and legislative branch. There is a relationship. Remember, there's a checks and balances system and a separation of power. So each branch keeps the other one in check. They're watching and they're keeping an eye and making sure everyone is doing as they should. So, for example, the executive branch has the lieutenant governor. He is also the head of the Senate, which is part of the legislative branch. Your governor, he makes the budget, but the budget has to be passed by the General Assembly, so they are affiliated. Let's see. So someone asked if they lose power because there's so many departments. No, they do not lose power. The biggest branch of government is executive branch. And remember when we learned about Jimmy Carter, there used to be 300 departments in Georgia, and he dropped it to 20. So imagine if we still had 300. There are so many duties and responsibilities to make sure that the Georgia citizens are taken care of, that there needs to be departments that specialize in each of these roles, and they work together as one big branch of government in order to make it effective. I think that I answered all of your questions. If not, you are welcome to send them to me. So I hope you're doing well. I hope your quiz goes well. There are a couple of things for you to do on the blog today that will help you go over them again. And I will give my shout outs and ask questions. So starting with first period, I'm wondering how many packs of gum has Bryce chewed now that I'm not making him spit it out? Jeffrey, is he still 3.0 or is he dropped back down to 2.0? I kind of feel like it might be a 2.0. I wonder for period 3 if Ben and Phoenix are playing that card game virtually at lunch or have they given it up? I wonder if Cade rolls her eyes when she opens my blog and reads what she has to do and she's like, oh, we have to read. Vikram, I wonder, is he secretly and quietly stealing little office supplies and stuff when his mom's not looking and just hiding them from her? Questions that will be answered. All right, guys, have a good day. I hope, please reach out if you need me. Again, you can message me, you can remind me, you can go on Edmodo, you can email me. You can do all of those things, and we'll be trying some new stuff next week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy yourselves. Relax. Go be a kid.